achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Then celebrate it with or without champagne.
Hello.
How are you, Paulette?
I'm all right. My voice is a bit cracky, but we'll get through it. So yet again, another cold, but it is what it is.
We have a heat wave, Paulette.
I know. 20. Look, hello, summer wardrobe out. Whoop whoop.
Excellent. Well, and hopefully your cold will go soon, right?
I just don't want it to go down that hole. Yeah, we just want it to stop as a cold go. And with the hot weather, hopefully I'll be able to get out and get some sunshine. Vitamin D, guys, vitamin D. We all need it. So how are you, sir, before we get going?
You go out every day. So my day starts with my cup of tea with my dogs outside. I just stand in the sun. Even when it's not sunny, I still stand there like a fool. So I'm good. I'm good. We're here. We're here for another great party. A couple of our friends are in the studio. I've invited a few more, so hopefully more of them will join the stage. And I think our topic is good. Of course, physical health. I think it's an important thing. Something that we all have to concentrate on.
For sure. No, for sure. And the thing about it is,
the sun is chilling. The heat.
Oh, well, the heat. Yeah, get the fan out. Get the fan out.
I have.
It's too noisy. That's
I just turned it
on. I have you.
The British. One day the heat. Without complaining.
Don't moan. Please don't moan about the heat. No moaning here. No moaning here. I am so grateful for the sun. I can't wait for summer holidays for that exact reason. And I'm really looking forward to a week of glorious sunshine. So fingers crossed. That's what we've got planned. But the topic today, it's kind of it's very easy to communicate and to talk about. It's not so easy to do. And I'm number one guilty party on this one. So before Christmas, we are going to be doing chair yoga every day. We're going to be doing this. This is New Year's resolution, right? We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing the other. And I got full agreement and support from the hubby. He was going to join in. And he kept laughing at me and going, I'll just hold it up and you can do it. And I'm like, no, you're doing it with me. And then I'll feel like I've got someone to work with. And of course, then I got ill, then I got iller, then I got iller, ended up seriously ill, and we've done nothing. So here we are again, now in April, heading fastly into May, and I still haven't even started the fitness regime. I have lost over a stone in weight, which is probably why things are looking a bit baggy. But anyway, I apologize for my saggy baggies. There's any might have mentioned, but I think it's really important that it's not to beat yourself up about this. And I really know there's some amazingly disciplined people, amazingly disciplined. And I take my hat off to you all. I'm extremely disciplined when it comes to work. And unfortunately, probably because when you've been ill, you don't really feel like kind of pushing yourself. And now I've got a cold, I got another excuse. Next week, I'm saying, no, not next week. We can do, even if I cough a bit, we're starting tomorrow. So tomorrow is the start day for chair yoga, and we'll see how that works out. But for me, this whole mind-body connection, we talk about our physical health all the time in people that go to the gym and they're hench and they're this and how many of these can you do? How many of those can you do? All very competitive. I'm not really talking to those people because you already know what you do, what you like doing. I'm kind of talking to those that are the ones that go to the gym for 3 weeks in January and are still paying a monthly subscription in November, but not attending anymore. or the ones that go shopping and park their trolley as close to the shop as you possibly can, rather than walk the, I don't know, 50 yards or whatever it is to get to the front door. No rain, just a normal day, but you still want to be practically in the shop. And what I wanted to try to get through to people in the best way possible is, if you just parked your car further back and you walk to and back from the shop and you walk around the shop, you probably would have doubled your steps for the day. If you're interested in steps, some are, some aren't. But it's just a bit of physical exercise. And I know that, I talk to Michelle a lot, and, I've been outside and she's just, moved God knows how many tons of manure or whatever. And I'm like, you go, girl, do it for me too. But the main reason for bringing it up is I'm always harping on about being kind to yourself and being kind to your mind. But part of that being kind to your mind is also being kind to your body. And they are, inextricably linked, obviously. But one is, always takes precedent. We must look after our mind, because if we don't, we just spiral. But I wanted to just say, if there is a chance for us to try and take back ownership, even if it's only, a little bit, a promise to ourselves to make a small change. I'm not talking about huge leaps. I'm not talking about committing to 5 days a week in the gym. I'm not any son. I'm not standing there with a leather belt beating his dad till he does 50 press ups. But what I am saying is that, because we know about hormones, we understand, what happens with our mood regulation. We know what happens with our hormone imbalances if things don't go according to plan. So, I'm just going to take those off for a second because my typing is so small I can't see. So cortisol, obviously the chronic stress elevates cortisol, and that is the primary stress hormone. That's the one that disrupts various bodily processes, and that will lead to and can lead to anxiety, depression, digestive issues, and sleep disturbances. Now, who knew that? Dopamine and serotonin. Regular physical activity boosts the production of dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters that play key roles in mood regulation, again, emotional well-being. Adrenaline. While adrenaline prepares the body for fight or flight, as we know, that's what we would call a chronic response, but it also can contribute to stress, anxiety, restlessness. So I just wanted to really think about the hormone balance, the mood regulation. What does exercise, or even the smallest amount, and I'm talking about, as I said, leaving the trolley further back in the car park, exercise and a natural antidepressant. So there is a lot of studies, and I'm not going to start quoting the science because I don't need to do that to you all, but there's 2 or 3 major studies that I pulled out, and one of them is that engaging in regular physical activity not only improves your physical fitness, evidently, but also has this profound effect on mental health. And this exercise stimulates the release of the endorphins, often known as these feel-good hormones, which can alleviate symptoms of depression and anxiety. Moreover, it can regulate the hormones to promote better sleep, further enhancing a better mental resilience. So that's the first kind of point that I wanted to hit. Nutrition. Now, listen, I am not going to preach to anyone about nutrition right now because I know that prices are going through the roof, And, maybe it's not always that we can have the, 5 a day. I was told by a nutritionist that 10 vegetables a week is sufficient. The body makes sufficient to cover the balance, the shortfall. So, if you can manage 10 a week, over the course of, say, 7 days, that means you can eke things out. You can, if you bought salad, maybe you have that 3 days. That just a little and often is better than not at all. And I am not going to sit here and pretend that I know that it's not expensive, because I know our food bill in the UK has gone through the roof. So I know it has in the States and it has around the world. But just if you can try, the key rule with nutrition, according to the nutritionist, was, and Lisa would be one of the best to talk about this. But if you can get 10, they say that the body can make up deficiencies in vitamins and minerals. But there are two key ones, and vitamin B is so important, which you can only get from food. Vitamin D you can get obviously from sunlight. I was talking to Annie about folic acid. They found that one of the reasons my chronic bone disease is such a big problem was I don't make folic acid, and folic acid is absolutely imperative for strong bones. So now I take the highest possible amount as a supplement from the doctors. I do the same with vitamin D because I don't actually take anything from the sun. I don't know why. I'm odd, but I'm not your regular person. But consuming anti-inflammatory foods can really help maintain your balanced levels again of mood. So anti-inflammatory foods, which are foods like fatty acids, magnesium, high in magnesium. So again, we can go through by food groups, but I didn't want to make this necessarily just about food. I wanted to make it about fatigue, exhaustion, persistent tiredness, headaches, depression, chronic stress, muscle tension, pain, anxiety, muscle stiffness, migraines, chronic headaches, bodily aches that you didn't have before, digestive problems, stress, anxiety can cause stomach aches, nausea, changing in appetite. Did you know that mental health can cause all those, as well as physical health can help all those? So it's almost like a set of scales, and you're balancing what your body needs against what your body can take. And so just bear that in mind for a second. In severe cases, functional neurological disorder, which is something that I have, it's called FND. This can occur where psychological stress manifests as neurological symptom. They try to explain it to me. I still am like, whoa, what is that again? So I go again, FND, which is functional neurological disorder. I was tested for MND, which is muscular neurological disorder, which is a much worse disease. But and it's a killer. This is just basically a weakness in the sensory messages. So neurologically, the pathways are not getting through. And that is something that's really worth remembering, because FND, when someone says it to you, like, what the heck? And I really didn't have a clue. So, fatigue and exhaustion, muscle tension, all these things, they're physical manifestations of mental distress. So mental health issues create physical issues. And that was the point I really wanted to make clear today. So when we're functioning and working well mentally and physically, we should be in a much better state in our complete overall outlook. Whereas when we have all these different issues, we can obviously, you can see, you can get broken quite easily. Now, grounding in nature, reconnecting for mental clarity, touching the ground. Lots of people talk about, there are many mindful practices. Meditation is huge. Any form of relaxation, any form. I mean, if you're not sleeping for 5 to 7 hours a day, then that's not any 5 to 7 hours a day. That is any 5 to 7 hours a day. Then your body can get used to 5 to 7 hours a day, absolutely. But less than that, it says you can't function. Now, you may want to argue that. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to just tell you what the reports say. I picked out one last one, which I thought was worth spending a moment of time on. And that is that we don't have to, spend a lot of money. Outdoor activities can be just going for a walk. Now, if you're fit and you want to go up for a mountain hike, then great. I would get stuck up the mountain and you'd have to send a crew to get me down. So I wouldn't even get up, actually, to be fair. I'd probably only go a couple of foot and go, nah, I don't think so. But in terms of, going for a walk, yes, I will push myself, and I will. But then when I sit down, I lose my legs. I become paralyzed, probably from about probably a foot below, a foot above my knee. And that's where the circulation just stops. And I'll go to stand up and I'll go, wee, and I'll go, crapper. And then everyone grabs me and there's just nothing there. I just think I've got legs and they're not there. And after a few minutes, I get pins and needles, tingly and whatever, so they come back. But they don't come back and go, yeah, let's not go run up the mountain. They say, okay, we can walk with 2 sticks to the car, or we can get on the ride-on mower, as I call it, and drive to the car. But the point of even mentioning these things is that if you are not in peak physical fitness, and none of us are, well, maybe a few, the point is just 30 minutes of regular exercise, and that could be dancing in your living room. That can be just walking to and from the shops instead of getting in the car, giving yourself the best possible diet you can afford, laying off the stuff that isn't good for you. Support, your brain health with whatever you can when you can. That's not a preach. That's a suggestion. Mindfulness practices, engage in activities like, as I said, breathing. Breathing costs you nothing. And I can tell you that when I was doing my breathing classes in the hospital with the pneumonia, it was honestly quite funny. I almost felt like they could have recorded it and sold it, because it was all these women going, it's like we were having babies, then deep breathing, panting, and I mean, I found it highly amusing, which I don't know, it's just me being a bit strange. But people buy videos in ASM, whatever it's called, ASM something or the other. Is it ASMA or something? I don't know. But anyway, this was honestly hilarious. If you could have recorded these noises, you would have been crying with laughter. It was like 50 women giving birth at the same time, with the occasional woman going, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And then someone giving her oxygen, it's like the pethidine. And it really was one of the most amusing sessions I'd ever had. But it was meant And the reason behind deep breathing is to open the lungs. Obviously, get as much in as you can. We all talk all the time, especially me. That means that I empty my lungs and I don't feel them because I don't go. And another thing, right? I just keep until I run out of oxygen. So think about breathing. Think about when you're lying there before you go to bed. Deep breathing is just so therapeutic. And you can count in for 5, out for 5, box breathing, 4s, whatever you want. There's enough of this stuff everywhere. YouTube is full of it. There are experts on LinkedIn as well that you can go to. But listening to meditative music, there's, some fabulous pieces of music you can listen to. And again, you don't have to pay for it. You can just go on YouTube and find it, or go onto your streaming music and ask them for it, and they just play it for you. And, you can say to Siri or wherever it is it's working for you, or whatever, Amazon, just, give me 50 minutes, half an hour, whatever. And then bonk, you're gone. It's turned itself off and it's done its job. But that half an hour of just down, chilling, giving your body the chance to just go and relax. How often do we do it? Really do it? Or do we just go, oh, and hit the sheets because we are so tired? Our eyes are literally closing as we hit the sheets. Well, as much as that's great to get a good night's sleep, that isn't a relaxing sleep. That is an exhaustive sleep. And they're two different things, as I was told. Getting to the exhaustive sleep place is not good. You need to go to the relaxing state and then this lovely deep sleep that you'll get afterwards. So, as I said, mindfulness practice is really important. I said 5 to 7 hours. According to Harvard and a few other reports, they quote 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, followed by or preceded by at least that 30 minutes of breathing or whatever.
This
You heard
20
me.
minutes, I'm doing better now. For the last 2 days, I've
Good.
had half an hour of sitting down with myself and my whiskey and coke.
Good.
I'm just saying, at least it's
Well, that's
relaxing.
good. That's a good start, right? I'm happy for you to be doing that, my lovely. Listen, this is a really funny one, and I'm going to mention it because when I read this, I was like, go for it, Harvard. Good on you. Social connections. Would you believe maintaining relationships and seeking support, right? That is actually right up there with everything else. It's not like lower down the line, it's on a par with. We get as much out of our connections and the love and the feeling of care we get from people as we do from food, nutrition, dieting, exercising, everything else, because we are a social being.
Having
It's a
friends.
social being, absolutely. And that is so important. So, guys, remember that as well. And the last thing I wanted to say is, it's never with me about preaching. It's always about saying, change one thing. If it means having a few more connections, if it means, when I say connection, just talking to a few more people, if it means changing something or looking at your finances and saying, look, I think we can afford a bit more fruit and vegetables, or if you say we are going to do half an hour of dancing around the room and being silly, having fun, laughing. Laughter is huge for building all of the hormones we talked about earlier. When you laugh, you release the feel-good hormone, and that is the one that we really do need to work on most out of all of them. Something's gone wrong. Hang on. I look like I'm wearing pajamas. There we are. I'm tidying myself up, Annie. There we go. All right. There we
not
are.
looking.
I'm back in the game. Back in the game. Don't worry, nothing fell out. I was always decent. I was just concentrating
That's
my
all
head
right.
down.
I'm sending DMs. I'm sending DMs. I'm all right.
All right, you're not looking at me, you're fine. So yeah, so hopefully there's, lots to go at. And I really would love to hear what you do to get that in balance. And it is balance we're talking about more than anything. So let's go for it. Who have we got up on the stage?
Welcome a few of our friends up. Let's welcome a few people in the audience, and then
Please.
in the in the studio. I don't know. What's wrong with my fridge full of meat? My freezer full of meat.
Nothing?
Thank you. That's what I want to hear. Thank you very much. I'll take it.
No.
And
If you want to eat, listen. No, hang on. If you wish to eat meat, you should eat meat, but you must always accompany it with, the old-fashioned meat and two veg. That's what we used to have, meat and two veg.
Balanced diet. I do that.
Balanced diet, everything in balance. That's all that everyone talks about. And when you go on these faddy diets, which everyone's done at some point in their lives, I don't think it makes you feel any better. I think what it does do is, when you come back after your fatty diet and start eating normally again, you tend to put the weight back on that you lost, and sometimes more. So it's far better you do small things and then you can stick to them, and it's easier than doing the big things like, I'm not going to eat carbs ever again, or I'm not going to eat meat ever again. Fine, but you have to then find something to replace that protein.
I agree. Look, when it comes to our topic and where I'm hoping our friends would go, I suppose we're open to anything that falls under maybe two terms I would use. One is holistic well-being, holistic activity, health activities, whatever that may be. Because it's quite a range of things. I think that's where the other one I think that might help to sort of focus our conversation is thinking about this, rather than thinking of exercise, more like thinking about physical activities, like you were saying earlier. Now, where you park your car when you go to the shop. I'm saying that. So it's mostly thinking more of a moving your body concept that people do. Just to keep whatever the circulation and things going, right? I've never been to the gym in my life, so don't look at me. It doesn't mean I don't exercise every day, but I just don't. I don't like the whole gym thing. It's never me. Look, so we've got many amazing friends here. So Michelle Ramos is on her way. The legend Melissa Houston, Dr. Melissa Houston, as I call her. She's gonna send me messages now saying, "I'm not a doctor." Yeah, you asked me. Expert at what you do makes you a doctor in my eyes. I think Philip, I'm glad you're here, my friend. I just invited you again. I can't see who's here, so I'm glad you're here. I'm sure many of you I've invited again. I just sent you a DM. Ignore it if you're here already. If you're not here, join us, please. Peter, and I said, our weightlifting genius, glad you're the recruitment guy as well. Glad you're here. Shelly, we see you. Divine, I just sent another invite, so I'm glad you're here as well. And look, if any of you want to join the studio, please do that. The link is on the event page. So if you want me to send you a link directly to your DM, I can do that too. So just put in a comment here, send a link. Chinomso, welcome, glad you're here. Of course, I'm glad you're here. Bethan, a mental wellness expert, glad you're here as well. Of course, everyone, welcome all of you. Sharon, good to see you. Dr. Lisa, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Of course, I'm glad you're here. I would love to hear from Dr. Lisa today, but I don't think you're going to talk to us. She might do. You never know, right? I'm always hopeful. So
Can anyone see me?
Yes. We are talking.
I can't see myself.
No, we can't see you in that way. We know you're here. I can see you.
I can't see.
You turned your camera off, Michelle.
My camera's not off.
It is.
No, it's not.
You're not. Your camera's not on.
It says it's on.
He's
Penny.
not. He's not.
It says,
Restart your device. That's the best thing I can say
okay,
to you.
now I turned it off. Watch.
No,
And now it's on.
no, now you totally now you've disappeared into the background. So restart your device, Michelle. That's the only thing you can. Then join again.
Let's
That's
see.
always my best advice, right? Because when I say, "We know," I know you're there.
Oh,
Yay! There you are. There you are.
hello.
Yeah, where was I? I got lost somewhere. Oh, so Lisa's room tomorrow, menopause room tomorrow. That's Tuesday. We're talking about how to eat healthier in midlife.
I
Even when you
can tell
don't,
you what
even when
I
you don't
do.
want to. Yeah, so do join us for that one. So Paulette and I will be there. So we'd love to hear your thoughts, of course, on that. Cyrus, welcome. I see you. You're a few messages further down. Liana, I'm glad you're here. I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks, Liana. Are you all right? I hope you are. You're here. That's the important thing, right? Thank you very much for joining us. Got a few more. Jay, we see you. Melissa says, I love playing in my plants to ground myself. I love playing in the earth. Not me. I like the sun. So your strange reaction to the sun, Paulette. That must be strange, right? That must be weird. I say I start my days, most days, outside in the garden. Just get some sun. I haven't had enough. The irony, Paulette. The irony of it all. I've had enough sun. I need more. It makes me laugh.
I love it, but I have that melanonin where my skins are different colors. So you remember Michael Jackson when I have the same problem, and it's because of a lack of vitamin D. So yeah, but I do go out in the sun and I love it, and I have to lather myself in lotion, but I love it.
You just don't get the benefits
But
the
yeah,
way people do.
no,
Oh,
no.
I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you now.
Doesn't stop me enjoying it. That's all right. It's only one more pill. Don't worry about it.
Welcome, Jay. Our storytelling strategist. Jay's got a new room with Angelico. Is that America? That's it, America. Yeah, I don't know which day. I think it was towards the end of the week in the evening. So I was there. Saturday, Sunday, something. I don't know, one of those days. My little brain, I haven't slept enough, so I don't remember everything. But Jay, I'm glad you're here. Dr. Marcia, we see you, one of my co-authors in that amazing book behind me, Lessons to Learn from COVID, and also many books in her own right as well. Carolyn, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you're all right. Carolyn is having some issues, but you're here. That's brightened my day. Haley. I say to Haley because that seems to be that feels better. It sounds better to me as well. I'm glad you're here. So Bethan says exercise is important. We agree. It's how much exercise. I think that's always the question, Bethan. So when Paulette mentioned my son, 16, he thinks no, he doesn't. It's so unfair, this thing called life. When you're young, you can do a bit and gain everything, right? And he does a bit and gains everything. Doesn't eat anything too unhealthy. Of course, he hasn't gone through the pains I've gone through in life, right? So he can do, he can go to the gym, hit things hard, right? That means just doing a couple of routines on each appliance, and it gets bigger and bigger. You're like, damn. But when I try, it doesn't quite work. It just hurts me more. And at least I've done something, is what he says. One day, Dad, one day. But I'm just in more pain than I can imagine, right? So, Ilana, I sent you the link to your DM. So I'm glad you're here. Yes, of course, I'm going to invite you, as I always do, more than once. Carrie, welcome as well. Carrie, where's today's joke? What's going on? So here's some realism. So you alter your metabolism when you frequently dieting. This can contribute to weight gain when you resume your regular eating. I never diet. I just keep eating. I've got this thing now. I want to exercise my body. I know it's dumb. but I know what I'm trying to do, right? I just mentioned my son and his it's hard to explain. Damien, and again, of course, all of you, I love to have your thoughts, so I do see you, all right? So my evenings, essentially, one day I've got to do my arms, heavy weights. And then the other day I got to do my dips, which heavy weights I got to carry myself on my arms, right? But so doing my arms, basically, I got to do, what's it called? So I basically lift my weights and bend it, literally, and it hurts. But you have to do it to exhaustion. Twice each. So I do my weights, and then I do, what else I do? Curls, and then I got to do hammer curls. Everything to exhaustion, twice over. I do it once to exhaustion, and then have 3 minutes off, and then come back and do another whole load of the same thing again that I just did to exhaustion. It says that's better for my health, right? But I think it's better to do as much as, to do 10, come back and do 10 more, come back and do 10 more, come back and do 10 more. So I can do that. I can do loads of 10s of anything, right? He's like, nah, you have to go to exhaustion. I'm like, no, that hurts too much. I don't know what. So that's the closest I get to a routine and exercise routine. If anyone has their thoughts on that, let me know. Not that my son will let me listen to you anyway. I'm just telling you what my routines are, right? And now, Michael, I know you're into exercise as well, so I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that sort of routine. It's a way of saying my son he doesn't like me being comfortable. He likes me to be in pain, hence to exhaustion. Right. It says the worst place to be is that place of comfort. From 16-year-old, you're like, shut up. What's wrong with you? How dare you? Get to exhaustion, get to pain. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, I'm up. And I sit down. Janice, welcome. Carrie, yes, Carrie's joke for the day made me laugh. And Eskimo goes to a baker and orders a cherry pie and a blueberry pie. The baker says, sorry, we don't sell Eskimo pies here. Like cherry pie and blueberry pie, Eskimo pies, right? But don't say it to Eskimo. That's basically a joke, right? Bethan, I'll send you the link.
But it used to, Annie, do you remember that I can't, I'm trying to think of the Burn. She used to have all those green outfits with the leg warmers on, and I think she was called the Green God. No, it wasn't the Green Goddess. Jane Fonda. And it used to be called the Burn. And it said you only got to the point where it done you any good when it was burning. And I could never understand why anyone would want to get to that stage. I got to the I'm sweating stage. That will do,
right. You're like the rest of us. You want to get comfort. You like comfort. My son says you have to go to extreme to get any benefits.
Maybe at 16. Maybe at 16. Maybe not at 50, because maybe that's actually quite dangerous when you think about it. You gotta be realistic here. We're not 16 anymore. So
no.
Anyway, what is let's hear what our guest.
Yes, let's listen. I've gone through everyone. There are a few good comments I will come back to. Michelle, what's your take on our topic? Michelle, have we lost you?
I'm coming.
No, you're good.
Sorry, you guys, my laptop, they're flying above me. Personally, I probably move about 300 to 400 pounds a day, and I clean a pony barn, I ride, I have to run water. I mean, I do just as much as a construction person does. I mean, it's not like a small feat around here to just, I'm going to get up and everything's going to be done. It don't happen that way. No, it's every day you're cleaning a barn and I do a lot of ballet and dancing though during the day, but I do not go into any kind of gym because of my sensory issues. The weights, when people clang them down, it will drop me to my knees. And also, I just feel very awkward in a gym because everybody dresses up to go to the gym. And I'm on a mission if I go to the gym, and that's to work out, not to look pretty. So I always look out of place. So, and so, yeah, I just don't go. I don't go. I work out a lot at home just by doing stuff. Like, okay, also, if you're doing laundry and everything like that, you can get into a plie and just go up and down to work your glutes and everything. And that's what I do. Like when I vacuum, this sounds weird, but I have put on my point shoes to just vacuum because you get your balance back. I do my balance board for about 3 hours a day while I'm watching TV. You can watch anything on TV, you guys, and do a balance board. And so that, honestly, the balance board keeps, everyone always says your abs and everything. I just call it my inner core. And yes, I've always had the V and the six pack, but that's also from muscle memory, from putting me as an English writer on a horse at 6 years old and do 3-day eventing. And then I also did ballet and toe dancing from the age of 6 to, I would say, 17. When I got married at 17, I quit doing ballet, of course, because I had a kid. But I still do all of those things, and I incorporate it throughout my day. And it works. I mean, we have to keep me very regulated with my weight. If my weight goes down, we know immediately something's wrong with me, because we always try to keep me at 130 or above. But if I'm below 130, we know I don't have enough energy or anything in my body to let me do anything, pretty much. Like it's just, you're kind of, I can do things, but not that long, you know what I mean? And then I'll get dizzy and everything. So I have a very unique system to where my team of doctors all work with it. And it's not a joke. We do weigh me every month when I go in. And that's when we decide exactly what my prescription numbers are going to be. And I know that sounds crazy to everyone, but everyone is different, because I am a lot. And I mean, I'm a lot to have to force to sit down like I'm doing right now. It's hard. You almost have to tranquilize me. And it's not with Valium you tranquilize me with like you do normal people. So, I mean, if you think about it, all right, put it this way. It's been proven without a doubt, and I really don't like using this analogy, but it is true. People that do, we will say, like crank, okay? They starve their bodies. And after a while, your body will get used to learning how to survive. And so anything you do eat, your body will turn into brown fat to make sure you don't die. Brown fat is the worst thing in the world for a person. And that's why a lot of druggies, or a lot of drug addicts, pardon me, not druggies, drug addicts, have diabetes, are overweight when they stop, because they have totally switched around how their body survives. And once you do that with your body, since it will always be in survival mode, it will never trust you again. It thinks you're lying to it. Because your body will automatically go into survival mode. So you just keep producing more brown fat. And it's not good for us at all. And that's what I
Michelle,
know.
that's interesting. Just to say, Michelle, that is exactly what one of the I was reading this thing on Harvard, one of their studies, and they said that majority of people that go on these fad diets end up with what you're talking about, which is your body telling itself it's been starved, and therefore everything it eats thereafter it hangs on to for fear that you're going to starve it again, and then people put on more weight. So you go back to your previous weight and then some. So that's a very interesting. I didn't know that about drug
It's
addicts
muscle memory.
specifically, but it makes sense. It makes sense. You say muscle memory, and I can see why that would be. So yeah, good
Sorry.
point. Thank you for that. That's
Thank
I
really
have
you.
to laugh. I have
what's
to laugh.
any
Oh, Bethan, sorry.
why.
Brown fat. That describes me. I like. Sorry, Jay. I had to laugh, and I just had to share it. You know, and I have, I understand where you're coming from on that issue, Michelle. All I've got to do is look at food, and I grow. That's the truth.
Well,
I just
no,
look at it and
that's a different issue. There's
and I
brown
maybe
fat
I don't
and
eat.
there's white fat cells.
I,
So that would be
I
you.
don't eat enough, and I most
Exactly.
days.
If you don't eat enough for your own body, you will bloat. And that is because of the water that your body will retain. It's got to retain water or you will shrivel up and shrink. So you will bloat very big if you quit eating. And people forget about that. And they're like, what's wrong with me? Give me that shot. I need that shot. And it's like, all right, well, if you're going to get that shot, though, remember, you've got to keep doing it for the rest of your life because you just changed the whole dynamic of your whole system. And that's what we've not done with me. We've never changed the dynamic of my body. We've only worked alongside my body to keep me going at how I've always been. Because to this day, all my doctors will say, yep, that's Michelle. Nothing astonishes us when it comes to her. I mean, yeah, you're telling us she did this, and we're telling you, yeah, yeah. She just figures it out, or her body. And what it is my body figures it out because your body won't let you die. It won't. It goes into
They
emergency.
say the body keeps the score. There's a very famous saying, the body keeps the score. And I think that's very much what we're saying here. The
Yes,
body does keep the score.
Let's hear from Michael
Absolutely.
and Damien, and then we'll come back to you, Michelle. Prof, welcome. I do see you. I'm glad you're here. Happy Monday to you too. Michael, please. And I say we'll give you a couple of minutes. I do want to hear from Damien. And I say we know Damien is a fashion guru, but he has many more skills in the health aspect to his work that not many know about. So I'm so glad you're here, Damien. Thank you for joining the stage. Michael, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a bit louder, please. A bit louder, be helpful.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that you find that that's much better. You might find that I'm breathing also deeper, so I can't apologize for that. It's just the way the mic works. Um, what you're talking about is absolutely spot on, Michelle. Um, there's certain aspects. Basically, what you're talking about is an intelligent body. Your body is intelligent. It's the other intelligent part of you that, for some reason, a lot of people do not communicate with and try to, understand what it's actually trying to tell you. And that's what you need to be able to do. Um, I have spent quite a bit of time doing a lot of exercises and trying to get out of what Paulette was talking about was this thing called circulation, blood circulation into your legs. I had a thing called DVT, which is deep vein thrombosis. If nobody knows about that, it's just basically blood clots in your legs. Pretty acute. I had it in both legs, and right now I don't have it, but it can come back if I do not exercise and I do not keep up with my daily routines. And I am not back to my athletic self, what I used to be when I was 16 years old, which is, and I was a footballer, a soccer player, um, very, very athletic, first team kind of player. Um, that's who I was. I was a jock, basically. That's what you call them here in the United States. I don't know what you call them in Britain anymore. I guess the same thing. Um, but getting back to that kind of conditioning is where is what I left. I basically sat down, just read my books, and just kept on sitting down, going to work, sitting down. Spent a lot of time sitting down and just working and not exercising at all. Uh, that led me into DVT and then subsequently into getting um, diabetics later on down the road, and um, and not much else after that, but also high blood pressure is also part of what contributed to what the DVT contributed to me getting high blood pressure, and I still have that. I have high blood pressure, and my heart has been working really hard just to keep me alive. So it's been trying to keep me alive for the past what 8 to 10 years, consistently overworking it. I've been overworking it and really putting it under a lot of stress. So you can imagine the cumulative result of that, and that means you end up having a weak heart, or you age faster than you normally would. So those things that um, Paulette was talking about earlier in terms of being able to sleep, being able to do exercises continuously, going outside, vitamin D, all those things I have done and I'm still doing and I'm still recovering. Once you get into this mode, the recovery can be extremely long, to the point that I think to myself that I'm never going to recover, because even as I am doing these exercises and I'm making progress and I am improving, other things show up. All sorts of other things start to show up. I get an ache here, I get a pain there. I'm like, why are these things showing up when they never used to be there? But why are they showing up now? I'm recovering. Well, they're showing up now because you're doing something different, but at the same time, you didn't know that you had that problem before. It just never showed up, and you were not listening to your body earlier. It was telling you you had all these other issues. So I kept on telling the doctors I don't have any nerve damage, but now I'm thinking to myself, maybe I do have nerve damage. Well, I didn't think I had any veins that, I don't know what they call it, but there's a name for it. Veins in the legs that blow up and look like they're a big size, but this basically indicates that you've got, um,
Varicose.
yes, varicose veins. There you go.
Is it
I got them.
varicose?
I got them in both legs. They're mild, but you can actually see that I do have them. My legs, the um, the quads, the shape of them has changed. They're no longer what they used to be when I was athletic. They used to be nice, streamlined, both of them equal, and in good path and good condition. But now one is smaller while the other one is a bit bigger than it used to be. And I'm like, what is that? Well, it happens. And then during the night, when I go to sleep, the draining goes on and on and on. And then in the morning, they're all nice and thin and basically back to where I was before. They look perfect. But then after a few minutes, give or take, you know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, the swelling comes back. And this is when the blood circulation is going through my legs. And what Paulette was talking about, the pins and needles and tingling and so on. Yeah, it happens. And there are times when that can be so painful, especially when you have DVT and you're getting up and it's just, oh my God, it's excruciating to the point that You pee yourself. You literally pee yourself because of the pain. You try to get to the bathroom, but you can't get there in time. Ah, there you go. So you have to change your clothes, you have to do all this additional work. So you don't want to get into that condition. And you really have to take care of your body. And I want to be at the age of 80 when I'm still exercising, I'm still able to walk around and do things. And you can imagine my dad is at that age. Yes, he's able to walk around. He's doing all sorts of things, but he's now fighting cancer. Um, he's fighting mobility issues, and I'm saying you really got to continue doing your exercises. The, you know, he just doesn't want to do it. There are times when he's like, I just want to die. My gosh. So you can imagine you're going to get to that place. You're going to get to that point. And if you're not doing your exercises, you're going to get there. Yes, you have to do your exercises to a point where you stress your muscles. And yes, you do have that pain, but you don't have to stress them to a point where it's extreme stress, where you're really, really, in pain. No, you just need to go to a point where you do feel that you're actually stressing them. And then you can come out of that and go into it and just time yourself. How much time are you in that stress period? Because there are times when you can get into that stress period and be there for that long, for a short period of time, and then extend it every day or every other day. Whenever you do your exercises, just extend the amount of period that you're in stress. You don't have to go to the point where it's extremely painful. No, you don't have to. You just you just keep it to a point where you do not collapse, but at the same time you get benefits from it, and you'll see that over time you're going to improve and improve and improve and improve. That's how you do it. Um, Not putting yourself to the condition where you're feeling a little stressed. Yes, that's just regular kind of exercise and it doesn't benefit. So you do have to put yourself in a slight uncomfortable position so that your muscles can benefit from the exercise that they're doing. Slight uncomfortable position. You do not have to go to extreme. It is not necessary. Regarding the gym, yes, I'd say that if you have a will and a mind to actually do what's necessary for your body, go to the gym. If you have to, you don't have to wear the clothes that they're wearing. No, it's all about the will. It's all about you saying, I don't care what other people think. What I care about is what my body thinks. What does my body think about me? And what does my body think about what I'm going to do next, etc., etc. It is not about other people. It is about you and your body. So go to the gym,
I say
enjoy it.
agree, but I've never been, so I don't know. I'm just saying I agree. And I have no
No,
intention of
no,
dressing.
no. It's that's what it's all about.
Hmm.
It's all about you. And that's what a lot of people do not understand that and do not believe that they actually take other people's opinions into account. It's not about other people's opinion. It's about you taking your body's opinion into account. That is the most important thing that you've got to do. Your body is going to
Agree.
tell you and advise you what you need to do. And
Yeah.
that's the only thing you need to listen to. And you just got to have the discipline to continuously and constantly
Okay. Okay.
improve yourself
Michael,
daily.
Michael, let's pause a minute. I want to hear from Damien. We'll
Okay.
come back to go another
No, no,
40 minutes.
it's okay. I think I've told everything that I need to tell. It's good.
Bethan, I don't know why you can't join. I sent you the link. I think Elan sent you the link as well. But you have to enable your camera and your microphone to join the studio. You know how to do that on your Chrome browser, top left. There's two little lines, opposing lines next to the address. You have to click on that and then enable your camera and enable your microphone. Then you can join the studio. I can bring you up and turn your camera up once you get on stage. How's that? Sorry, I'm easily amused. You're Michael. Apparently, you're having tar dick. I have no idea. So that's Ilana's genius. Tar dick Conesia, whatever that is.
Can I say something? I actually had a friend. She was an older woman that had what Michael has. And she lived on the road here, on the same dirt road I do. I know, it's crazy. I live on a dirt road. We have no cement around me. Well,
You know,
anyway, she's
DVT is a common condition. Michael explained it quite well. We spend
yeah,
all that sitting down. We need to
she
stop
felt
that.
the
That's why I
same.
stand up.
I'm just saying she felt the same stuff. And when we started doing her feet, like I would actually rub them and move them and everything. After a week of me doing that for 15 minutes a day, I would walk down there. She was a very nice lady. I really miss her. And she wasn't able to walk without a walker for years. She was diabetic. She said that her feet felt like they always had wool socks on it. It was just seeing her, she just wanted to die. And she had her horses there, and so I would go down there and I would clean out her barn for her because she had these old ponies. And I told her, why don't we start doing your toes and squeezing your toes and then just getting it, and then just rubbing the bottoms of your feet. All I did was look on YouTube, and she's like, well, if you think it'll work. I had her walking in a week without a walker, and then she was actually walking up and down our road every day because she would get up in the morning and take her fingers and press it up against either one of her toes. And I would tell her to drink a lot of water, and we would do these feet flex things on her like we do with me. And I learned that at a very young age. My ballerina teacher used to do that with my feet because
Right.
we had to like mold them. And so, yeah, it worked for her. Now her diabetes never went away, but I told her too, I was like, start taking some apple cider vinegar. And that helps not only your diabetes, but it also helped
No.
everything else. And she did, and it worked. I mean, she lived happy for another year. And she didn't pass away from what she had. She passed away because she got into a wreck because she was finally able to drive. I mean, maybe that's not, I know that sounded bad, but I mean,
Let's get to Damien, then we'll come back to you, Michelle. How's that? Otherwise, Damien has been there nearly an hour, if not more, and he hasn't said a word. I'll come back. I'll come back to you, Michelle.
sorry.
Hold that story. Blessing, we see you, Francesco. Welcome as well, and Dr. CJ. Of course, we see you as well. Thanks so much, Joni. Looks like you might join the stage and share, but now you're here, so thank you for joining us. And Michelle Ramos is, I can't join. Oh no. Okay. Sorry, Michelle. Anyway, ignore me for now. So, Damien, thank you for your patience. Patience of a God you have. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm keen to know what's your thoughts on the topic, because I think you haven't joined us before on this particular live. Go and share with us. The mic is all yours, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, perfectly.
I can hear you, Damien.
So yeah, I mean, listen, health and wellness is a big part of my story. Thanks everyone for sharing it. And it's unfortunate that we have to, experience these things. But what I've realized in my own experience is we design systems that don't work for us. So in 2012, I was diagnosed with cancer. In 2012, I was diagnosed cancer-free, and I haven't been sick since 2012. And what I had to do was re-examine everything that I thought I knew, because I thought I was healthy in 2012. And the simplest way I can put it is this: we cannot outrun our bad habits, right? The doctors, the medication, the visits, they can only do so much. And the real connection that we're missing is being closer to nature and being closer to our food. It's said that when we pick fruits and vegetables, cellularly it starts to die immediately. And the nutrition that we should be getting from these foods and vegetables, they're completely gone after 2 weeks tops. And it depends on the food. Garlics and nuts, they have a longer shelf life. But if we're talking about, your kales and your salads, they don't last very long. So imagine when we're eating salads or avocado that's shipped across the Atlantic Ocean to our tables. We're just chewing at that point. There is no nutritional value there. And I think those are the things we need to really consider about how we consume foods. It's the motto for me is the closer to the ground we can eat, the better. So the processed foods, the steamed foods, the cooked foods, these things are depreciating the value of what we're supposed to be getting from them. And the more we can eat fresh, the better off we are. And through my experience of overcoming cancer or outliving cancer, I started making a morning smoothie, and it has like 26 ingredients in it. And it was just something I did to host friends. You know, they come over, I'd share the smoothie with them. And for the first time, about 5 months ago now, someone offered to pay. And I started selling these smoothies, and she helped me sell like 50 smoothies in 3 weeks. And through these conversation with people, you know, they're going to the bathroom more regularly, they're losing weight. Like all these things are happening, and I realized that food is the connection. And I started getting a lot of questions around what do I eat? Where do I eat? Some things were mentioned earlier too on the expense of eating healthy. And I always challenge that by saying, you're either going to pay for it now or later. And later is usually more expensive. So, in an effort to help everyone that's been asking these questions, I actually designed what I call an Easy Eats meal plan. And I'm using AI to help folks make better decisions about how to eat well. And it's been encouraging to see the feedback that I've been getting from this meal plan. And I encourage everyone, in short, to eat closer to the ground. You know, find your local farmers market. If you have a patch of dirt in your home, in your apartment, plant tomatoes, plant peppers, like find these things and they will help us help you get healthier quicker. So that's my contribution to the conversation. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Paulette, you know I love to show a video. Damien's got a video testimonial for his smoothie. Can I show it?
I do?
Yeah, it's only
Yes, please.
It's on your website, so I want to give people a real impression of what it is.
Oh.
Let me welcome Olua. I'm Nigerian, I'm shameful though. Sorry about that. I can see your name, too many letters, right? I get all confused. Thanks for joining us. Michelle says, thank you for sharing your vulnerability. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability and sharing your amazing knowledge nuggets, Damien. Thank you so much. Yeah, so much we can learn from you for sure. So let me show this video very quickly. Damien's like, I've got a video. Yes, you do have a video. It is nice. I do spend time there. If I can find a video to play, I'm normally happier. Let me try and find it. Which one is it? Oh, it's a website. It's not that one. Oh. Oh no. No. Is it that one? It's not that one.
This is where Damien's face is looking like, oh my gosh, what is he possibly going to show?
It's there. Let's try again. Let me turn that back to the beginning.
It's gonna so
Damien is used to you, is used to me.
So this is my second week, and one, you don't feel like you want to eat all the stuff you used to eat before. It's like it cleanses you from. I love chicken, and right now I don't even want to see chicken. I do my juice every day, and maybe I'll have a lunch, and at dinner time I sometimes have to go drink another shot. And I'm thoroughly feeling better.
There you go. That's all it is. That's all it is. So I'm all right now. I can stop screen share. You know.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Annie. Yeah, so that is Dawn, and she is the person that I mentioned. She was my first client. She asked me to you know, put a price on it, give her 5 a week, and she's been doing it ever since. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. When you said you had a video of me, I thought you meant of me speaking about smoothie.
Don't worry. And I've got this funny
So
habit of
can I ask Damien a question?
of
Are
course.
you planning on turning this into a business? This is going to be something that you're going to upscale?
Oh, it's already a business, and it's not a traditional business. My brand is DP Projects. So I'm a creative director by trade. I build and design digital experiences, but I always apply my creativity to any projects that I put my hands on. So the Easy Eats meal plan is one of them. Morning smoothies is another. And by the way, I've been making morning smoothies for over 6 years, and I've been giving them away for free. So the intention was never to be profitable. It was just to extend the idea that we can do these things at home. So I have at least 3 of my neighbors making their own morning smoothies. So I gave them, you know, the instructions on what they need as a base for the products. And the beauty about it is it's a seasonal smoothie. So I put things in it that are in season, guava, mango, you name it. So even though it's one product, it will always taste different depending on the season. So, yeah, if anyone's interested in learning more, feel free to connect with me. I'm more than happy to share the list. You can visit the website. All the ingredients are there. So, yeah, it's not a secret. I don't think we should price people out of health.
I was going to say to you, the key for me with all, I mean, I take an awful lot of drugs, but they are all medicinal. But the thing that's so important, like you said about cancer, with bones, it's a fairly major problem once it's in the bone, and it becomes kind of like it's always there. They can just control it and manage it. So for you to say that you were able to come through something and come out the other side all in a year is pretty phenomenal. So well done for that. First things, kudos. The keeping things as close to the ground. If you can't get to the products, I want to just say this. I watched a program because I occasionally watch telly. And when I was watching, it was about factories that process food frozen. So if it's out of season or you can't get it, or for example, like a mango, by the time it's reached us, the mango is, pretty much as you said, you're just eating the pulp. It's got no real nutritional value to it because it's taken, however long to get across the water to us. With bananas, we now find out that they're putting, they're sending the bananas over as green as can be and chucking one ripe banana in, and then that will turn the bananas that they want to release to the market. So they were explaining all of this, and they said, for example, if you're looking to do smoothies with pineapples and strawberries, and they mentioned loads of the obvious things that people put guava. There was pomegranate was one. There was a few others, and they were saying that you can buy the frozen product, and that is almost as it's closer to fresh than the stuff that's coming across the water or spending X amount of time in a trailer, because it's actually been picked and frozen and then shipped. So do you agree with that comment or not, Damien?
Oh, listen, absolutely. And by the way, when I'm not saying that it's incorrect to eat frozen foods or anything else. Yeah, because frozen foods lock the nutrients in. The reason I'm sharing, quotes like eat closer to the ground is to create another path for thinking about food, right? Because if we're now on the chase to eat closer to the ground, it will skew the imbalance of supply and demand, right? Because if we're now going out asking our suppliers to get us fresher foods, it will happen. And I'm seeing it happen in Sweden. They have these grocery stores now that have hydroponic growers. You go in and you actually pick the vegetables from the supermarket. So they're now growing food in the same boxes that have foods in boxes. So it's us on the consumer to look at who's supplying or food line chain to say, hey, listen, we need better alternatives. Because here's what the reality is, right? It's like you've captured a bird, you put that bird in a cage, and you're asking that bird to pay rent for capturing it and put it in a cage. And then you're asking the bird to eat foods that aren't natural to it. And that's exactly what we're doing. All the foods that sitting in our shelves that can last 6 months, 8 months, a year, if mold won't eat it, why should you eat it? So this is the conversation we're having, right? Is understand what food is for us. It is a source of life. If we want to live, we have to eat living food.
My husband's very anti-processed, and for the same reasons, because of what they do to the food to make it edible. But I mean, Michelle, well, I mean, she lives in the desert, and she's turning the horse muck into soil, and she was showing me she's growing peppers and she's growing, food so that she can, she wants to supply it to people who haven't got it. So, I think we've got the facility. I think everybody's got the facility, get the words out, to put a tomato plant in, to do something to get. So I mean, I know we went crazy on lettuce one year. I don't know what I did wrong, but I planted all the seeds in one go. So we were just like, we had more lettuce than a lettuce shop. So we were like going down the street just giving lettuces away, like they thought we were crazy. And it turns out you're supposed to plant the lettuces like so many weeks apart so that they grow at different times. But of course, I didn't know that. I'm a townie, so I just planted lettuce. And the next thing you know is we were a lettuce shop, and I was just giving it away, and everyone was laughing at me. We did the same with tomatoes. We had these hanging tomatoes. Instead of having hanging baskets for flowers, we did hanging tomatoes. And then we were putting the tomatoes out the front for people to just take, because we couldn't. I mean, my husband was freezing like bagfuls of fruit and vegetables, and but you can't really freeze some things, like you can't freeze lettuce. It just doesn't work. But the key thing is, I think with all of this stuff, everything you said makes perfect sense. And when you talk to any nutritionist, they will tell you that it's far better you get the nutrition from food than from a tablet, right?
And by the
And
way,
that's the
tablet,
key.
yeah, the tablet are extracting from nature. So
Mm.
the synthetic products that we consume are a derivative of nature. And again, the theme of the message is if you can't rely on farmers to get you fresh foods, find a windowsill with sunlight, get a pot, plant some mint, plant some basils. Like we can do these things. The thing that I hear most often than not is the inconvenience of it. So if we're not committed to making health a priority, we're always going to find ourselves in these situations, right? The hamster wheel of getting sick, going to the doctor, feeling better, going back to the same routine, getting sick all over again.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think that everybody who is listening is going to be inspired to come and look at your website. So can we have a website link on the comments so that everyone can come and visit the website? Because I think
Sure.
it's really important. Yeah. And I think there's one other thing I'd like to
Absolutely.
bring up. which was one when you said like you with the cancer. I don't want people, and it's really important that I say this. I don't believe that you can cure cancer with nutrition. I don't want anyone to think that we are saying that, because if you have breast cancer or bone cancer or whatever cancer, you need to go and see the, hospitals, doctors, whoever. You need to get checked out and get the right help you need. But when you're out of hospital and you start getting back to your routine, this is when Damien and I are agreeing that the better the nutrition you can put into your body, the more chance you've got of successfully keeping the cancer at bay. I think that's what we're both agreeing, right? So, that's what I just wanted to make sure that nobody thought we were saying, hey, we know we've got a smoothie that cures cancer, because we haven't. If we did have, we'd be doing, you wouldn't be on here now, right? But what we have got is something that can give you longevity, can help you with your health journey, and can certainly, hopefully, make it easier on your body for the future. So, there's no reason not to give it a shot. It's a pun there. There's no reason not to give it a shot, because, whether it's, I'm not a great, glug, 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 glasses full, but I can certainly do a shot glass, or, like a small shot lot down. And even, are you talking about unpleasant, or are these okay to drink? Are these got a nice taste?
They're delicious. That was the ultimate goal
Oh,
to
well.
make them. Yeah, they're delicious first.
Okay.
Because, yeah, here's
Okay.
the thing, and this really opened my eyes to how we approach health. I shared it with doctors, and one of the doctors, the first thing he said to me was, "It's green." And in that comment, I knew what he meant. And if that is the first hurdle, I know this whole health conversation we're having is
Exactly.
right. So I didn't want it to be a salad. You shouldn't be drinking a salad. No one would want that. So yeah, it has spirulina, it has diatomaceous earth, it has dates in it, bananas. So there's a lot of things in there to help balance the flavor and keep it refreshing. It is a meal. There is some plant-based protein as well, so it does hold your appetite. And yeah, when I put it together, it wasn't to sell a product. It was for me to sustain nutrition, vitamin, health, all the things that I needed in order to be a healthy human.
I love that. I love it. And you know what? That first comment that you made that the doctor did, that the face, it's green. Everyone goes, oh, green, ugh, right? They just know, because people have had yucky shots before, and that's just like the eye goes up, and you're like, I don't care how good it is for me. I've got to hold my nose, throw it back, and cope. But if it's pleasant enough to drink, then you're going to have far more chance of it being sustainable, and people actually buying into the whole idea. And it is, you say, it's not a marketplace. We're not talking about, Damien's selling shakes or smoothies. What Damien's saying is he will share this recipe so you can do it at home. And let's get as many people healthy as we can, because the healthier we are, the more we can cope with life. And that's about this whole lifing and wellness journey against nutrition. I've met some extremely thin people, and I mean painfully thin people, who have made themselves very, very ill because of mental illness over food. And that's a completely different argument about why people see, you know, a model or a person of a certain size, and it can make people want to be or look like that. Somebody gets called overweight or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being healthy. I'm not wanting to try and, I'm not by any means casting aspersions on anybody. This is just a journey, and it is a wellness journey, both mental, physical, and when both are in sync and both are in harmony, life is a lot smoother.
It is.
And
Yeah.
it will also be,
And you mentioned something very important there. It is the relationship that we have with food. It's broken. And it's broken so much that we are unable to respect, one, what nature has to offer us, and two, we've created a society around health being how expensive your insurance card is, or how many pills you're taking, or and so I think that disconnect is where I'm most excited about with sharing the smoothie stories and sharing the Easy Eats meal plan, is how can we get folks to start talking about whole foods more, right? It's not, and to me, honestly, I don't talk about calories, I don't talk about diets, I don't, all I talk about with folks is how are you eating and is it fresh? And if we can start there first, it's a better way of understanding, because honestly, from a scale 0 to 10, we're all sick. Where you are on that scale is left to be determined on how we listen to our bodies. And once you start embracing whole foods as a part of your regular diet, and by the way, I'm not a fan of cheat days. I actually call cheat days poison days because anything that's processed, sweet, or filled with sodium is not your friend. And we've become so accustomed to these box processed foods that eating healthy is almost a hurdle to getting back to that. And so these are the things that I encourage people to look at more and just find ways to steer the ship into the right direction.
okay, I've got another question for you. Diabetes is one of the biggest problems in the States, right? It's a known fact that that is one of the bigger, I mean, obviously heart disease is huge as well, but diabetes is one of the key. It is in the UK too, and it's starting to get into our younger generation. And for me, that is scary that our children are finding themselves with diabetes. And I know that, and I know there was a lot of pushback from parents, and I don't know how parents in the audience will feel about this, and I'd be interested to hear. But when my son was at school, he came home with a piece of paper, and he'd been weighed, and his height had been measured, and he was showing us that he'd got a good score. He did well. And so I said, well, what does it mean to you? What did they explain? He said, oh, they didn't explain anything. They just said the fat kids had to lose weight. And I was like, I'm sorry, this is a 7-year-old. The fat kids have got to lose weight. Who said those words? He said, well, they didn't say it quite like that, but that's basically what they said. And I said, and he said, some of the people were crying. It was very sad. And they've all got letters, and they've not got letters like I've got a good letter. They got a bad letter. I said, well, how do you know? Well, there were good letters and bad letters. I said, what was this, Santa's workshop? It sounded like it was, you've been good, you go on that pile. You've been bad, you go on that pile. And there was a lot of outrage about this in the school. And I was the head of the Parent Teachers Association, which didn't have any weight to us. We raised money for the extra things. But I got loads of people phoning me up going, what are you going to do about it? And I was saying, oh, I don't know. What do you want me to do about it? And I went into school and I dropped my son off and I popped in to see the head, who I knew like a friend. And I just said, what the went on yesterday? She looked at me and she was like, woo, where'd that come from, you know? And I told her about Ben, and my son is autistic, so he tells it exactly how it is. It's no sugarcoating with him. Me and these puns today, but no, there was no sugarcoating with this. This was what was said basically, that the fat kids have got to lose weight and the thin kids are okay, and the kids that are in the middle just got the good letters and the bad kids got bad letters, bad being fat or overweight or whatever. And she said, yeah, it's the new thing that's being done by the educational authority, and they're going around all the primary schools and they're weighing all the children and checking the height and weight and everything, and they're telling parents that they need to change the diet or whatever. And I said, and the letter that we got, and I took it in with me, I said, did you read the letter before it went out? And she's like, well, it's nothing to do with us. It was nothing to do with school. It's a part of the school body, educational establishment came into the school and told us they were doing it. And I said, well, read the letter. And she read the letter. I said, that was a good. I said, could you imagine what the bad said? And Ben was, his height was whatever, his BMI, 7 years old, really. But anyway, yeah, his BMI. And then underneath whether or not he was on what level. And it came back that he was fine, but they wouldn't want him to get any bigger, right? And he was fine, but they wouldn't want him to get any bigger, was the words. So what, I hadn't got a fat letter, as they called it. So what did that say exactly? And she sort of looks at me with horror on her face. And I said, my phone was blowing up last night from all the parents going, what are you going to do about it? I said, what can I do about it? She said, nothing. She said, the only thing is I'll ask to see a copy of one of the letters. So I said, well, it's being brought in because you've got a queue of parents meeting me at 9:30 outside your office, and I'm trying to placate them because they want to go to war with you. Now you've explained it's nothing to do with you. I would explain that first so that it calms the heat, takes the heat out the kitchen, calms everything down, and then we have a conversation. Okay, fine, that's what we're going to do. I went outside, there was only 4 parents, but they were fuming, and I said, listen, it's nothing to do with the school, nothing to do with the head. No, she didn't get to see the letters. And yeah, I know it was like Santa's workshop, as I said, but the point is, it was an educational authority trying to help deal with childhood obesity. Now, maybe they didn't get it right, and maybe the wording wasn't right, and maybe the kids were upset, and I agree they would be, and I don't think that was right either, and the wording of the letters and everything else. But I think if you take the actual reason behind it, it's 100% right. Because if you teach children at 7 that, McDonald's isn't a healthy option, and that, if you keep eating processed food, you will get ill, and that, it's not good for you. And, the problem you've got is you've almost got the children trying to educate the parents.
So
And
I
then
think
you've
that's
got
a
a
bad
war on your
approach.
hands.
I think I understand their reasoning behind it, but to send kids home with a letter is the incorrect approach. And here's why. When I was in the hospital, I went to a private hospital, by the way, because the public hospitals, it was a butcher shop. Everyone was recommending things that, in my mind, would make their billable a lot higher. So the radiation, the surgeries, the cutting this, the doctor said to me they wanted to remove 60% of my stomach on the first examination of what I had. It was lymphoma of the stomach. So immediately I knew that wasn't professional. And just going through that process and really seeing what we've built as a community, it is very jarring because here I am in the hospital on the 5th floor. I come down to the 1st floor and there's a McDonald's inside. Send the letters to McDonald's, send the letters to Burger King, send the letters to Lay's. Like, this is what we need to do, because if they're seeing it on TV and hearing it on the radio and all these mediums, they're not going to think that it's bad if it's everywhere. So that is my only recommendation to the story that you offered. Like, it's unfortunate that the kids had to, be the target of this movement, but we really need to start putting people over profit and go to where the source of the problem is.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that I don't know whether I'm right to say this or not, but I had a conversation with my son. He's a medical student, and he's been walking up this whacking great hill to the medical center every day. He came back after Christmas and for Christmas, and he was looking trim. I mean, really trim. I was like, wow, Ben, you've lost some weight. He said, Mum, every day, twice a day sometimes. He said, you got no idea. It's like that, you're proper. And he said, if you're late, he said, I've just found out I could borrow a scooter. They've got these electric scooters now. I'm going, no, don't you dare use a scooter. Anyway, the conversation carries on. He came home for Easter. Not so trim. I'm not saying he'd put on a lot of weight, but enough that we noticed. And we were like, you're carrying a few extra pounds there. What's going on? I said, you've been using them electric scooters? He said, no, I spent 8 weeks at my desk writing essays, right? I've barely seen the daylight, blah, 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 blah. And so we got the story and, whatever. But he's gone back absolutely focused on walking up that hill, right? And wanting to come back trim for his summer holiday and look good in his swim trunks or whatever, right? Now, I don't care what motivates him as long as it's motivating. But when they're putting sodding scooters and, electric scooters around the big campus, I'm like, why can't people use their legs? That's what we were given them for, right? We are making it so easy for people to be lazy. And that's another issue that we have to be mindful of, We can talk about the money that is being put into the scooters. That goes back to the university. So, of course, it's in their interest. You talk about the fast food places. Yeah, absolutely. It's back taxes, right? It's about the taxes. I would suggest it's down to the people and not just the plant-based, because I get quite frustrated with the vegetarians and the plant-based. We don't want to name people. Stop naming people. If you want to come out and go, I'm a this or I'm a that, that's fine. But I'm just saying I would like to see the taxes being changed on these fast food places so that it makes it not an attractive opportunity, right? So if you're going to pay the equivalent of what would be, I don't know, let's say something that would normally cost $5 now is 20 or 15 or something stupid, right? That might be the only way, Damien, you're going to hurt people in their pocket, because mentally this generation, the younger generation, our generation, your generation, we've grown up with this. fast food has been the option that's available. You say it's in hospitals, you know, it's on every bloody street corner. So how do we change it? And do we say the food has to change? Can we say that? Can we say what you're serving has to be different? You have to offer different varieties of products. I don't know how you do it, but I do know you're right. And I do know that the fast food giants have made gazillions and millions out of it. So if we were to tax them, you know, at point of wherever the country is and all that stuff, because you know all about the taxes, the way it all operates, the same with all these large organizations, you know, it'll be somewhere in Monte Carlo or somewhere in Monaco or wherever. But the point I'm making is, you know, you either tax them so that it hurts, or you make the products too expensive or more expensive, or you make the products taste, you know, with like the salt, as you said, the sodium, you know, I mean, the fries covered in salt, this, that, and the other. You know, there has to be a way of, if we have to live with fast food, if we have to, what do we have to do? You tell me. Come up with an idea.
I mean, it's clear we're not living with fast food, we're dying from fast food. So that is, I mean, I'm not sure how else to say it, is how do we reposition? And I get it, Pandora is out of the box, right? However, if we look at what these products are doing to us, they are not making our lives wholesome. They are not contributing in any positive way but convenience. And convenience is the death of us. So the fact that we're selling the fact that you can not get out of your car, buy a double Whopper with fries and soda and get to work on time and do all the things that it promises, that's actually what they're selling. They're not selling nutrition, they're not selling food, because we know it's not food. So I think that's where we have to start the conversation.
Yes. Oh, yes. Sorry. Could you guys hear me? I apologize. You're all both look. I was just
Yeah, no, you,
you know, like,
Michelle,
yeah.
you go for it. She's very excited by what you're saying. Yeah, agreed. Michelle definitely agrees.
Everything's behind me is gone now, and I can see you guys. Obviously, my laptop it can't accept that thing that goes behind you. Whatever you want to put it so you can't see behind me. But Damien, you are totally right. And I can tell you this, I didn't grow up with fast food. I grew up in such a small town. We didn't get a McDonald's until I grew up in the same town all my life. And I think we got a McDonald's when I was 25. No joke. When we were when we went to prom, our big thing was renting a limo so we could have them drive us to Reno to go to McDonald's, because it's the only time we would ever get anything like that. And so I grew up without it. My kids will tell you right now, oh, we can count on our hands how many times my mom let us eat at McDonald's. Because I was like, I'm not paying $50 for you guys to eat this. And honestly, when I started everything, if you heal your gut, you can heal anything in your body. You can heal any organ as long as your gut is healthy. And I think any doc, even you, Damien, would be like, yeah, she's right. If your gut's healthy, you can really do things. And when it comes to actually having fast food be made, it will never be happening that way, you guys. It's a moneymaker. That would be like taking strippers, and our Nevada has strippers. That would be like taking our strippers away and not paying our taxes. Are you crazy? Don't do that to me. All right. Yep. So that is a thing that, I mean, seriously, it is. That's how we are in Nevada. Our gaming pays for our taxes here. So if you take away everything, we have to pay for our taxes. We'll have to pay for McDonald's and stuff. And so that's how McDonald's sees it too. if you think about it, why take something away that everyone's addicted to? That would be the worst drug dealer in the world, right? Seriously, if you think about it, no, and all food is, when it's processed like that, is a drug. Because if you look at it from the periodic table, it is all the periodic table with the dyes, with the glue they have to put in it, with everything just to mold it. It's a periodic table. Well, why would you take that away if it's a moneymaker and it's legal? You wouldn't. It's not their fault that all of our kids grow up on it. It's our faults. Us parents need to take the responsibility, quit being lazy, get out of our vehicles, like you said, Damien, and walk in if we're going to go get some fast food, and at least walk a little bit. But it's convenient and lazy for us parents, and that's why it works, is because us parents look more for the convenience things in life, because we think that everything is so overwhelming to us when actually it's not. And I hate to say that, but it really is that way. They made it convenient for us, so we became lazy and took the convenient. Now none of us know how to cook or eat. So you got to kind of get.
And you're absolutely right. And this is, I think, how we have to help each other, is understanding how to get back to that basic, right? Because even going back to what you said about convenience, right? I'm originally from Jamaica. I came here at 19, and I just celebrated my 46th in February. And everything is around this time saving approach, right? Like, if you do this, it's 45 minutes or less, or it's quick. And yet, no one has the time. Where is the time going? Where is our health going? And to your point, it's not food anymore, it's a drug. And the addiction to this drug is creating a society where, I have this saying, sick people make bad decisions. And when I say sick, I'm not just talking about, like the most common sicknesses like the diabetics and the cancer. Like, having the common cold is being sick, having a migraine, a headache, and these foods slash drugs, that they trigger it. And the trigger for that is get drugs, right? If you eat pizza and it doesn't agree with you because you're lactose intolerant, you have your prescription or your pill to continue taking the drugs. So it's drugs on top of drugs on top of drugs. So what we're doing is we're creating this ecosystem where we're turning off all the signals that our bodies give us to let us know that we're literally poisoning ourselves. So when these signals aren't there anymore, we're seeing the manifestation of it. We're seeing the growths. We're seeing the numbness. We're seeing, the needles in our legs. We're seeing the migraines. Like, everyone is sick. So the question is, if we're going to put health as a priority, is it even a question anymore? We just have to decide to do it.
And you're totally right. But one thing people don't like, remember, is withdrawals. And withdrawals come with getting off processed food. Withdrawal, because it's a drug, because we have made it the way we have. So anyone getting off anything nowadays in our world, processed medication, anything, you are going to go through withdrawals. What happens when people go through withdrawals? They freak out. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to go to work. I'll just eat it, and then I'll do it again this weekend. I'll try to go through the withdrawals this weekend. And it's a never-ending battle. It never gets done. Honestly, with me going through all my withdrawals out here and going to real food I grew, like Paulette knows, I've actually turned sand into dirt. And I'm very proud of that. And I have a beautiful garden. But it took me, I would say, about a year for my system to even like me. And then my system didn't even like me until I got my gut healed. And that's when my TBI started healing and everything like that. It wasn't just about changing how I ate, it was about also healing my gut so I could get everything to the proper organs that it needed to go to. And that's just how I do it with my, I'm not saying I go out here and I dig in the dirt and eat it, but I mean, it's a lot of it has to do with people going through withdrawals and getting the headaches that you do get. Quit eating red dye, huge one. When you quit eating anything with red dye in it, you will automatically start getting migraines. And not only will you start getting migraines, you'll start getting sinus migraines. Why? Because red dye actually has a placebo for our allergies. So if you think about it, when you quit taking red dye, allergies go up your nose and everything, right? So it totally makes sense. And all of a sudden, here comes your sinus headache. And here it comes around your eyes, and you start looking like a raccoon. People get scared of change like that. It only happens for maybe a week. But the first time people see it, it freaks them out, unless they do have someone like you, Damian. I didn't have anyone like you. I went through it all by myself, and it was a living hell. But I knew I had to do it for my daughter because my daughter takes no medication, and we control everything right through her diet. She's
Well, you know what?
perfect.
Thankfully, they have someone like you too now, Michelle. But I think this is it, right? It's having these conversations, and it's talking about the expectations of, the consequences of making these decisions and how to work through it. Because you are right, like it's not an easy rip the band-aid off type of situation. An addiction is an addiction, whether it's food or drugs. So the real theme of our conversation here is, do we want health to be a priority? Yes or no? And if it is yes, here are the conditions and here are the steps. It won't take 2 days, it won't take 3 months. It is a process. This isn't a New Year's resolution that will expire March 1st. This has to go on for at least 2 to 3 years for us to see the changes. And here's the beauty of the change. When to your point, it starts with the gut, right? The gut is, in most cases, I've read, the second brain. I would argue it's the first brain. Once you start feeling better, the chances of you going back to that diet or those drugs is slim to none, because
Yes.
your energy level goes up, your creativity goes up. You feel, you want to hug the day. And I remember being foggy minded. I couldn't remember things. We all experience that state at one point in our lives where we just feel like we're disconnected from ourselves. And that's the state I was in, before I knew I had cancer. I couldn't pinpoint what the thing was, and it just kept getting worse. So it's helping folks to define what health really means. And honestly, I feel like even the word health has been hijacked. Everyone has their own meaning for what health is. And so it's finding these new ways, these conversations, approaches to helping folks better understand how to make that long-term shift. I know we've been on for almost 2 hours. I actually have to jump to another
Yeah.
call. I don't
I
see
was about to
any.
say we're gonna close anyway. No, we're gonna close
Yeah,
up anyway. But what I was gonna say, just to finish up, the key for me, the reason we call this the Wellness Cafe, wellness being rather than health. So it's mental, physical, it's your whole being. And it is so important that what you just said, that fogginess is a very, very key indicator there is a problem. Brain fog is one of the first indicators of so many different illnesses. And I can tell you that it's one multiple sclerosis, MND, FND, fibromyalgia, menopause, cancer. It goes on and on and on. Brain fog is one, and they talk about that because gut and brain are very connected. And I think that point you made there and is so important. So I'm going to shut the room down, even if Annie isn't here, to say that our physical and our mental wellness, guys, it's in your hands. We have the choice what we do. Please do put your details in the comments. Damon, I really appreciate you, and I appreciate Michael and also Michelle. And if you would put your details in the comments so that people can rush on over and have a nosy at you.
Yeah, I tried putting the link in, but I think, yeah, it's blocking me from putting the link in. But if you visit my LinkedIn page, the link there will take you to the page.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Right. So Damien, what is your surname?
It's Damien Parsons.
Parsons.
Yes.
Michael, go ahead quick.
No, that's exactly what I was going to ask was what is his surname? You're just, taking a note off of my page.
I'm
Damien,
sorry,
thanks a lot
darling.
for coming along and actually talking about it, and also talking about the fact that the gut and because right now I'm having problems with my gut, and on my left side I'm having every time I'm having difficulty, you know, it's just panging away like as if something is wrong and I have no idea, but I have changed my diet and I have actually lost weight. I reached my target like I was boasting the other day. After reaching my target, and then all of a sudden I start getting these issues. And it was, and the reason why I reached my target is because I had done a diet change from, I eat fruits in the morning, and then I eat one meal a day, and it's really good food, and I eat it late in the evening, not too late, but enough such that I can go and do some exercise after I've done that, and then go to sleep, and then wake up, do the same routine the next day, and it's all been about the diet and lo- reaching my targeted weight. But this gut thing has got me a little bit surprised. And so you guys talking about it and indicating that it is because of a shift in my body and my body not liking what I have done. And basically an indication that it's just trying to readjust to the situation that it currently finds itself in. So I'm looking forward to this being just like, a couple of months and then it goes away. I don't want it to be forever, but there's a possibility that that might be the case. But it also means that everybody's body is different and reacts differently, and so you can't expect things to go the same way somebody else's
So Michael,
effect is
I'm
having.
not, yeah, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, but I would say this. I experienced the same like stomach pain issue before cancer. And by the way, I'm not saying this to scare you to say you have cancer, but a part of my diagnosis was having H. pylori, and it's a common stomach bacteria that is caused by not washing your hands or fruits. And what I would say is, if you can, if you're capable of doing it, go see a physician and get an upper endoscopy to see if there is any breach of the gut wall. Because if there is too much acidity in your stomach, sometimes there can be a breach. And usually, in reversing that is, staying away from things that are harsh to the stomach, right? So, like, the vinegars, the fried foods, the alcohols, things like that, because it will continue to erode it. And worst case scenario is it can get septic or it could be cancer. But I would say don't sit on it for too long without pinpointing what it is exactly. But just from my personal experience with gut, because that's where I had my experience, I would say go take a look at it sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll definitely go
definitely.
ahead and do that.
Yeah.
I was also thinking
And
that
and and
maybe I need to go
just
with
on one other
alkaline
point,
foods.
Michael,
Mm-hmm.
I was just about to say to you, Ben was very poorly with gut ache and really, really bad. And he was going to go into hospital and go on a chalk diet, and they were going
Mm-hmm.
to introduce foods to try and find out what the allergy was. And he went skiing with the school. They had nothing but pizza and pasta for a week, and he didn't have a single diarrhea or stomachache. And the doctor said, well, he's fructose intolerant, so just limit the amount of fructose. So don't scare the living bejesus out of yourself. I'm asking you, go get a blood test, go get it checked out, go see what you can find out, but know that don't let it go on, because it could be that you're putting too much acid in your body or something. Could be an
Okay.
ulcer, could be lots of things. Go get it checked out, okay?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's just a minor thing. Okay,
Of
thanks.
course, we're all hoping that, but go get it checked anyway, regardless. Otherwise, Mama will be after you.
I know you're gonna be checking on me, so I'm gonna have to do that.
I
Now that
will.
I've
I
opened up.
bloody, you know that now. I know. I will do.
Yeah,
You know that, right?
I
Annie,
know.
we're going to shut up shop because Damien needs to get off, and we've been going for quite a while, so it would be nice to give everyone an evening. So if
No,
that's all right
we've
with
done
you,
our time.
do you mind
We've done
doing
our
the honor?
time. We've done 2
We have,
hours. That's what we're going to do,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, you
Do you want to do
disappeared. We didn't know where
do you
you
want to do
went.
comments? Do you want to do comments or not? No?
Well, we can do, but Damien needs to shoot. He's got a
I
call.
mean, you guys can continue. I just have to drop. So yeah, I appreciate the time,
Yeah, that's
guys. And
fine.
call it Mike,
Damien,
Michelle,
thank you
Lovely
so
to
much.
meet you.
Thank you.
everyone in the comments. Thank you for having me. And yeah, let's do this again. I appreciate the time.
If you struggle to connect with Damien,
Thank
send
you.
me a DM. I'll connect you in a group chat. So
Yes, connect with me, Damien, please. I am legally blind and deaf, Damien. So I only see certain things, so I miss a lot on Lidikin, like even names or Please, will you message it to me?
All right, I will, yeah.
I'll connect you in a group chat. So
Okay. Thank you.
thank
Thanks, guys.
you. Take care, my
Take it
friend.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye bye. Okay. All right. There's quite a few decent comments, Paulette. So this
I'd love to. Yes, please.
this is the best one. Annie was looking ways in a rental car since it hurts. That's amazing.
That's very good.
It does hurt. It really does. No. Banana says you lose weight while freezing cold and shivering, especially winter time. The best dieting technique is sleep during 30 degrees weather. It's medically proven and awesome. Sorry, my computer in caps, not yelling. It's all right, Lana. I can see better in caps anyway. Right? Oh no, the cold diet. Oh, that sounds painful, right?
No, you sleep underneath blankets, ding dong. It's the cold air that you're breathing in that hurries up, that gets your blood oxygen going. So it's like you're not even asleep. Your body doesn't think, but you actually are asleep. My grandma used to do it to me all the time. So for ballet, right before we had a recital. So yes.
Can I show you a free physical and mental wellness strategy?
Yeah.
It's a video. Jay sent it to me. Yeah, they're like, what are you going to show us this time, Minnie? Right, let me do it quick. You're going to love this. Well, everyone's going to love this. It's free. We can all do it if we have the right environment. Here goes. Do you love that? Nature, the sounds.
Bird.
It's great. I don't know, that's calming. That's calmness. Calming gets right.
Yes, I love that.
Thanks,
Yes.
Jay. Thanks, Jay. You know, I'm glad. Sorry, Michelle. You know, it's
I just wow. You know what? You want to know something else for health? And when you eat, if you're happy, you eat happy. You honestly don't have to wait to get healthy to be happy like people think. You can be happy and eat happy and be able to hear things like we just heard. Yeah. Thank you.
yeah. No, I think there's something in that, Michelle. You know, we put too much stress on ourselves unnecessarily, and we just have to find. I think it's like live healthily, do some of the things we talked about today, you know, and you know, move, especially move. Michael and I would definitely agree with that. Now, the reason I'm standing and
Yeah, you know,
go on for it.
I was going to say, if Jay puts the 3 or 4 or 5 minute video up of where he is, it's just absolutely beautiful and amazing. You could put that on YouTube, put it with some meditative music, and you're killing the 2 birds with 1 stone in that you're relaxing not only your mind with the music, but also you're getting the cues from the calming of the lake and the bird song. So, you know, there is something to be said for the two. That I meditation was like, come on, really? And then I got into it and it was like, wow, really? It makes a difference. It really does. So, you know, definitely, Jay, I would make some. Hang on, what's Jay saying? It? Yeah, lunchtime. Beautiful. What a place to be able to have your lunch. Amazing. Yeah, very lucky man.
So that's a new comment. I haven't got there yet. No, so I'm still stuck on these. You know, his friend used to walk around the dinner table 30 minutes daily because he had a sedentary lifestyle. Oh. Now, again, I'm sure Michael and I agree, you know, because you know we spend so long sitting down these days, so long. You know, so I've learned to stand up for these events. One, it stops me falling asleep like I used to. You know, since I started standing up, I haven't slept. I haven't slept during an event, so that's a good thing. So that's why I carry on doing it.
That's cute though. That would have been funny to actually see. Oh, yeah.
No, I know it's not funny because I just sit there and sleep. I usually just sit there and sleep. They're like, any, I'm like, I'm gone. I would always wake up, Michelle, and go, oh, damn, events. Oh, they're still there. Oh, excellent. You know, so
Yeah, that's why I don't like meetings. I'm always forced to sit
I
there.
don't blame you.
And after I sit down, it's kind of like, woo, I'm gone.
Mm.
That's part of my story, actually.
They're boring, Michael. It's not us, it's them, right? It's them. You know, Sarah says, and Paulette, and currently my metabolism rate is slower than a snail. Don't parry me on. My favorite machine in the gym is vending. Cyrus, you're missing the point going to the gym, Cyrus. Don't be touching those vending machines ever, 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 right? Ever. You know, they're full of poison, apparently.
I just love Whisper Boy. What the things that he well, I'm Tom for anyway. You know what? It's okay, Cyrus. You go take your own bottle there and bring your own machine too.
Don't be buying things for those machines. That's Jay's brown fact that describes me. Jay, that's a good one, my friend. Francesco, I thank you, Francesco. Oh, yes, sure. Jogging, running slowly, even walking in nature can be helpful for your mind health and for your body as well.
I wear combat boots and I run in my sand. I know a lot of people are like, well, how does your legs stay that way? I have sand and people have been doing it for centuries. You put on your boots and you hit the sand. I mean, I'm not a long distance person. I'm definitely a sprinter. That's it. But yeah, I will hike as fast as I can up sand dunes for 10 acres. And my daughter does it too. And then we will run downwards all the way back to the house. And running downwards is actually teaching us to control ourselves so we don't fall over. So it works.
Yeah. And I have to say, I don't like walking too far. I'm just the thought bored. I get bored. Yeah, you let me enjoy the nature. I just don't enjoy walking. I mean, that's me, right?
Until you until I will say this, until you can't do it, right? That's when you'll realize how much you miss it. So I take every step that I take without a stick or with a stick as a gift. So I would say, to anyone who chooses, you know, yeah, just don't take things for granted, because one day they might get taken away from you. So, if you've got them, use them.
Yeah, no, of course, I
Anyway,
still have to go. Go on, Michael. Go on.
do you find purpose in walking?
No.
I mean, do you have a purpose to go walking?
Um,
I want to
I,
go to the
I
grocery
walked.
store and get myself a chocolate.
Yeah, I walked to the store, to the shop, as I call it, as we call it here. I walked to the shop and back, rather than a drive. But, I live in the countryside, so everything's far away anyway. So I
Yeah.
don't know, I don't get many chances. I don't get the need to walk for very.
You've got dogs, Annie. You've got dogs. They
I
need
used
walking.
all the dogs. My wife does the dogs now, and what those funny rules for that. The rules about what's those killer dogs that we had. Remember the killer dogs that were eating everyone? They still are.
Eating people.
Yeah. No,
I thought those were the bulldogs.
the aggressive dogs. Remember what I mean, Paulette?
The
Yeah,
bulldogs.
yeah,
Bulldogs. Bullies, yeah?
yeah. So, since then, we've had to get license for our dogs because our dogs are big dogs, and then you can't walk them in the park anymore. So I can't just walk down like I used to walk them down the road. I can't do that anymore. So now we have to rent a park for dog walking, and my wife does all that, so I don't need to do that.
So you have pit bulls then, like we do.
They're
And
not pit bulls. They're not pit bulls. I've got a mastiff. It's a big dog, but it's a mastiff.
also, he's an English Mastiff. I
No,
love Samson.
it's a moderate size. It's slightly bigger than yours, Paulette. But it is a staffy. But you have to muzzle them and all the craziness, which
Oh wow, no,
much
yeah.
pain. Yeah, so
Have you
I
ever
used to
tried
walk.
cat walking? You got some cats, so we
I
walk
got
cats.
two of them. Have you ever tried walking a cat, Michael?
Well, no, not really. But I figure that since you have them, then you might
You
be able
don't
to
walk
walk them.
cats, Michael. The cats are out now. I think one of my cats is eating the birds out the back. We found the bird's
Okay,
nest.
well, you know what? If you can't walk them, then at least you can chase them around.
But not my cat. My cat would attack you. She'd be like,
Yeah. I'm gonna walk you. I've had cats that walk down the road with us. Like when I used to walk the dogs, the cat's like, "I'm coming with you. You like it or not?" And then to get to the park and then see them on the edge and wait for us to come back out again. But you can't really walk a cat. DP, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. I know who DP
There's
is.
a first time for everything, buddy.
I'm not gonna start it. I'm not gonna start walking my cats.
Well, you can
Cats.
become famous.
That's why I
Alien
like
cat
cats.
walker.
Oh, I've seen it on telly, Mark. It's more of an oddity than you think. I saw someone walking their
You know
cats.
what? It's odd because you're not doing it, Annie.
I'm not
Once you
doing it.
start doing it, it becomes a famous thing. It's a thing to
I'm
do.
not doing it. You
It
don't walk
becomes
cats.
popular. That's what you get to know. People get to know you that way.
No. I could let you say get away with it, but no, I'm not gonna walk my cats. It looks like cats are like I'm doing it.
Well, at least the idea is in your brain right now. One day you'll do it.
I'll think about it. All right.
I trained my cat to be a beast. She doesn't want to walk around with anyone. I'm like, you're gonna be a killer kitty cat because I don't like mice, and you're gonna kill everything in my house. So she does.
I agree. That's what cats are for. Damien's great advice: eat closer to the ground. Professor Roxana, we agree. That's one of the best things we heard today. Another one was from Paulette, where she said, "It's easy to be lazy." And I thought, oh, I like that one. It rhymes as well, Paulette. That's what I really want to say. I love great sayings. I rarely come out with them. So yes, absolutely, Paulette. Damien captured me in a call-off platform. It's extremely encouraging and comforting talking with Damien about my upcoming breast cancer surgery. Damien, he's a star. So it's when you get to meet him, you'll be truly amazed. That's what I invited him today specifically. So, I know he has insights. I'm glad he got to share.
And the fact that he said he'll come back is a good thing. So, we can come back to this topic again. It's important, we talk about mental wellness all the time. We don't always talk about gut health. We don't always talk about the physical health that is so important. It is it is the whole person, from top to bottom. And, we really do need to think about that sometimes. It's too easy, as I say, it is too easy to be lazy, and it's true. Sorry, it's true. Right,
true.
I need to go and get some food because I'm starving. So I haven't eaten today. So,
Okay. No, it's.
but I promise it'll be from the ground.
We'll let you go. BMI. I think that's about you and Ben at BMI age 7.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
well, Lexi's going to go through the comments. Lexi, that's why I welcomed you. I'm glad you're here. Lexi runs Inspire
Thank you for coming.
Profits. I'm so glad you're here.
Amazing lady.
And Carrie, some amazing comments, my friend. Thank you so much. Lexi, watch the replay if you missed the end of the beginning parts. I had to say that was late. So thank you, everyone.
Right, Paulette? Is she who I fell in love with yesterday? I'm fan basing right now. Leave me alone. Any stop it. Just leave me alone. I'm totally fan basing right now. Is it her? She was in the lunch. Hi, Alexandra. You are like my hero. I just love you. Thank you.
Right. Look, Michelle with a 280-pound weight loss over a decade, and literally, have you seen Michelle? The way she was, and how big she was.
I saw one picture of her, and she looks totally different. I am so
different.
So different.
The last one I'm going to show you, Paulette. Michelle says Trump is going to ban food dye preservatives. I'm sure he's not. And that one is not going to win.
I think
I'll tell you just a quick one. I went to a fresh butcher's, a farmer's market, fresh butcher's, and I said to him, "Why is the mince meat, like minced beef, ground beef, you call it, why is it so brown?" Right? It's brown. Is it not good? Is it, And he looked at me and he went, "It's fresh." And I was like, "What does that face mean? It's fresh." He said, "It means it's got no red dye in it to make it look super fresh, super bloody and super fresh out of the cow. This is beef that has come, it's literally 48 hours since the animal was slaughtered. This is what the color it is. It's not red. It's not pink. The steaks are brown in color because they don't have red dye rubbed in them to make them look fresh." And Charles and I were like, "Okay, we're sorry. We didn't know. We're townies."
I butcher all my life. That's what we
true.
used to do, is butcher after school. We had a butcher unit that we would take to local farmers, and us kids would get to butcher their beef or whatever like that. No, nothing that is in the store actually looks like that when it's at your butcher shop until they decorate it.
Exactly.
Sorry,
It's true.
saying goodbye to myself. Right, Carrie wishes
Yeah.
wishes
No.
you all a great and cheesy day. So that's going to be our last.
A gooder day. Gooder night.
Kuna
Have a
Matata.
cheesy day. No, it doesn't really mean have a cheesy day. Don't eat cheese for your evening, right?
No, a gooder night. Gooder night.
Right. So what are we doing tomorrow? Tomorrow we're talking neurodivergence.
Similar, actually. Yeah.
But no,
Or neurodivergence with the girls. Yeah.
we're talking about why and how to break free from the chain of trying to put kids into a mold, into how we expect them to be, to behave, to speak.
Yep. Behaviors.
Yeah, so that's a conversation with Michelle B, Michelle R tomorrow. Do you join us for that? And then I'm going to talk about Africa Business Talks. Michael, I want to talk about African businesses. What can we do to get them to build a business based on local customers?
Ooh.
I want to know because I wasn't able to very keen to going abroad, but we need to look local. That was
businesses targeting local customers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Around the world, that's what every business, local businesses target local people. Why don't we in Africa do the same? I don't know. I do know. They want the dollar.
It should start with the banks loaning money to local entrepreneurs.
Okay. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, my friend. And bring your sister, please. Let's hear from her.
Okay, we'll see if I can get her in.
Excellent. In the evening, we've got our room with Lisa. We've got a menopause room with Lisa. So do join us for that one. That's a continuation of this conversation about eating healthier in midlife and menopause. Even eating healthy, even when you don't want to, Michelle, you got to eat healthier. It's not that you don't want to eat healthy, even when you don't want to eat at all. So do join us for that one. Busy day tomorrow. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone. You've been amazing. Look, to join us again. So next week we've got Paulette's Mental Wellness. But 2 weeks' time, we're back again. For all those who joined us, we appreciate
Children's anxiety next week.
Sorry, my bad. My brain goes funny after a while, Paulette. It's Monday. It's still Monday, right? Yay, it's still Monday. Anyway, thank you, everyone. To enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you. We'll be very disappointed, but tonight we'll understand. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Damien, as well. Great speakers you are. Thank you so much.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.com.